Once upon a time, there was a man named Louis, who was known for his lack of common sense. He lived with his mother, who was always worried about him, despite her best efforts to guide him. Louis rarely used his brain to think. His mother often worried about his future. Louis's reputation for being foolish was well known in their village. One morning, Louis's mother asked him to go to the market.
"Louis,"
she said,
"I need you to pick up some groceries. Please buy a loaf of bread, a dozen eggs, and a bag of flour."
Louis nodded.
"Sure, Mom. I will be back soon."
At the market, Louis bought the bread, eggs, and flour. On his way home, he saw a fruit stand and decided to buy some apples. He thought it would be a nice surprise for his mother. However, instead of just getting a few apples, Louis bought a whole barrel of them. When Louis returned home, his mother was surprised.
"Louis, why did you buy so many apples?"
"I thought it would be a good idea,"
Louis said, smiling.
"You didn't say how many apples to buy, so I bought a lot."
His mother sighed.
"But we don't have room for all these apples."
Louis looked puzzled.
"But I thought I was being helpful."
His mother shook her head.
"Louis, sometimes using common sense means sticking to the list and not overdoing things."
Louis's face fell as he realized his mistake, but he promised to do better next time. Louis decided to visit the local merchant to get a job. He knocked on the merchant's door, and a servant soon opened it and led him to the merchant.
"Good morning, sir,"
Louis said with a hopeful smile.
"I'm looking for a job. Do you have any job?"
The merchant looked him over and said,
"Well, we do need someone to help around the house. Are you interested?"
"Yes, sir.
Louis replied eagerly.
I can start right away."
The merchant nodded.
"All right, I will give you a chance. You will start today. Just make sure to follow instructions carefully."
Louis was thrilled.
"Thank you, sir. I won't let you down."
That afternoon, Louis began his duties. He was given a list of tasks. Clean the floors, organize the shelves, and prepare tea for visitors. Clean the floors, organize the shelves, and prepare tea for visitors. Louis set to work enthusiastically, but he soon encountered a problem. Instead of just cleaning the floors, he used a lot of cleaning solution, making the floors slippery and dangerous. When the merchant's guests arrived, and almost slipped on the wet floor. The merchant was not pleased.
Louis, what happened here? I asked you to clean the floors, not turn them into a skating rink.
Louis said.
I thought using more cleaner would make them shine better.
The merchant sighed.
Using common sense means knowing when enough is enough. You need to follow instructions carefully and think about the results of your actions.
Louis nodded, understanding his mistake.
I'm sorry, sir. I will be more careful in the future.
But he never used his common sense. He kept making mistakes and never seemed to learn from them. Irritated employer rebuked him.
An intelligent servant is one who, when asked to do something, does 3 additional tasks using his common sense.
After a few days, the rich man's daughter fell ill with fever. The rich man said to his servant,
Go and fetch a nearby doctor.
Louis went to the doctor and told him about the illness of his employer's daughter. Then he got thinking about what 3 other tasks of common sense he could do. After deep thinking, he went to the graveyard and ordered a grave to be dug. Then he went to the undertaker and ordered a coffin. Then he went into the neighborhood and asked the neighbors to arrive for a funeral procession. While the doctor was attending to the sick girl, a man arrived and asked,
Whose grave is to be dug?
The angry rich man asked,
What grave? Who told you about it?
Just then, the undertaker arrived, and he wanted to know the size of the dead person so that he could make the right size of coffin. As the rich man was fuming, the neighbors arrived mourning the death of the young girl. It became known that Louis was behind all that misinformation. The rich man beat his head in anger and frustration.
The idiot Louis! Now I wonder what else he is doing. Where is he?
He thundered. He picked up a thick stick and stationed himself at the door of his mansion to teach a lesson to Louis when he arrived. He didn't have to wait for long. As soon as he saw the culprit, he rained stick blows on Louis, cursing him all the time. Stupid Louis was puzzled.
Master, you had asked me to do 3 additional tasks to whatever I was ordered. I thought if the doctor's treatment didn't work, Liza would surely die. Then she will need a coffin and a grave, besides a crowd of mourners. I thought I had done a smart thing.
Moral: common sense means thinking carefully and making smart choices, not just doing what you are told.